Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Venom, issue number 21. Professor, why is your comic still in the polyurethane bag and the cardboard backing? Because I didn't read that one, I read this one. It's the exact same comic book. It's just, variant cover. Variant cover. And it's a freaking amazing variant cover, but they're both good covers. In case you didn't notice, this starts Venom Island. So there's a brand new story arc. Is this jumping on point? For the most part, yeah. It's always going to be hard to have a jumping on point immediately after a major event, especially if the same writer is writing. But, this is not an issue number one, all right? This is not a brand new reboot to the character. No, not at all. This is just a continuation, but it is a pretty good jumping on point. Just make sure that you read all this good stuff right up here, and here you should be fine. There will still be questions, but remember, there was just a major event, so there's that. But yes, I think that this is a perfectly good time to jump on Venom if you haven't before. This is a very different story arc than what we've been seeing before. Let's get talking about who made this comic book, then we'll talk about more about the book itself. We got Donny Cates on writing, Mark Bagley on pencils, Andy Owens doing the ink, Frank Martin and Eric Arcianega doing the color art, VC's Clayton Cowles doing the letters, Mark Bagley, Andy Owens, and Jason Keith doing the covers, and a whole bunch of people doing variant covers, so there's that. Anyway, so I love the visualization in the very beginning where Brock is shaving, and Eddie's shaving, and the blood drops in the water and then starts spinning around like the whole, crazy symbiote thing, the God is coming complex. I loved that because it's kind of foreshadowing. It's not just, a reminder of what happened, because that's what I thought it was. No, it's a foreshadowing of what's about to happen also. I love when writers do that. Like, that's a good stunt right there. One thing I hate about this comic book, Eddie shaved. But Eddie's about to go on Venom Island. I doubt he brought his shaving kit, so hopefully he's going to grow that thing back real quick. But, yeah, he shaved in this one. Whatever. Can you tell I'm a little partial to beards? Whatever. It is what it is, man. It might be personal for me. Anyhow, so he's got problems with Dylan, his son, who he just realized in the previous issue is Dylan just realized that's his dad. Dylan is really upset at his father in this. Why? Well, I took art therapy classes when I was, basically the first actual classes I took in college were psychology and art therapy classes. So I'm not counting my correspondence courses I took while I was still active duty. So anyway, like all of that, it was fun. It was also terrifying seeing that when kids draw this, it could actually mean that. You know what I'm saying? Drawing pictures of things that they can't talk about. That's most of my understanding of child psychology, because I didn't stay in psychology long enough to really get into it. But Eddie Brock is a hero. Eddie Brock is a superhero. Eddie Brock helps people. Everybody, for the most part, knows this, right? And Dylan's like, when you were just my brother, and I found out you were my brother, it's like, oh man, he doesn't know about me. He's going to come and he's going to, help me out. Oh, there you are. Crap, you can help me out now because, the guy, this guy, my dad, technically our dad, right, because we're brothers, he hurt me. He said that. He said he hurt me. He didn't give an implication of how much. I'm sure he physically hurt him. I'm sure he emotionally hurt him. We've seen who his father is. He's a disgusting, wretched beast. Was there more than that? Was there like child rape involved? I don't know. We don't really need to get into that necessarily. Do we? Maybe. But it's like he hated this guy and he despised him, while at the same time he thought he's his father. So when he found out that Eddie was his brother, it's like, holy crap, you can help me. You know what I'm saying? But then when he found out that he's his father, this is different. This is different because mothers and fathers are supposed to be that unique, omniscient character to all of us. And one of the reasons why kids wind up rebelling against the world is because they finally realize that their parents don't know everything. Their parents aren't perfect. And that's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. That's actually one of the things that I like about religion, is that one of the few things, that I like about religion is that it's usually the passing of the buck immediately that I'm not perfect, God is perfect. So this way the kids learn, they understand, they grow up with the idea that, hey, mom and dad aren't perfect, so I can't hold it against them. But the parents who grew up, yeah, dad knows everything, mom knows everything, we're the best, and all of a sudden you realize they're not, oh, that sucks. Anyway, that's kind of what Dylan is feeling now, and you can see that. And he's hanging out with Normie, and I hope that that's actually going to be a big deal, that he's hanging out with Normie Osborn, that we get to see this friendship develop. We get to see Dylan trying to work out his relationship with Eddie. I think that's important to the comic book. I think that's really going to show a lot of development in the comic book. Remember, we want to see character development. It doesn't have to be Eddie. You know what I'm saying? It could just be the people around him. We're seeing people grow. And having a good supporting cast, Nick Spencer knows it better than I think anybody else in comic books. Having a great supporting cast, that's the way you can always have development, character development in your comic book. You get the feeling that people are actually growing. It's a beautiful thing. And Cates, yeah, Cates is getting that also. I love this. Absolutely love this. Now, here's something that I actually want the conversation to be in the chat. Let's talk about Eddie Brock potentially joining the Avengers. Because I don't want, you know me, I don't want to get too spoilerific here. But Eddie is propositioned to join the Avengers at one point. Personally, I think that it's a great idea. Because they don't really, in my headcanon, they don't really trust him. Here, unfortunately, Cates kind of writes Captain America as though he's giving a little bit of hero worship to Eddie. That, no, this is not Captain America to me. You know what I'm saying? There's something to complain about there. But it is short-lived, so it is what it is. But he's basically saying, hey, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to vouch for you. I think that you should, try and join the Avengers. Let's see if the other Avengers think so also. I think that'd be a great idea, because much like Wolverine joining the Avengers, it's basically just a way of watching him. It's basically a way of saying, we don't trust you. And the best way for us to get to trust you and to get you to, maybe learn by example, this is who we are, this is how you should be, and we can watch you make sure you're not actually killing people, why don't you join the Avengers? I love that idea personally, but he's not ready for it right now, because while he's talking to the Avengers, something happens. Something happens that causes Eddie to say, I need to go into pure isolation mode immediately. And that's what he does. This island actually has a lot of meaning to Eddie, which is impressive, because they just said Venom Island. I didn't actually know which island he was going to. No spoilers. Look it up yourself. Shouldn't be that hard. But Eddie's got to go and try and figure out his new split personality thing that he's dealing with. This is interesting, and it's a good fallout from Absolute Carnage. This seems like the natural progression. It makes sense to me. Cletus Cassidy is dead, but what happened to the symbiote? Yep. I'm digging it. I am absolutely 100% digging this. So that's what we're dealing with in this. And Eddie now has the opportunity to go off completely by himself. By the way, if you guys aren't familiar with Mark Bagley on art, you are in for such a treat. All right? I don't think anybody really represents Spider-Man on art, modern day, Ditko fans getting pissed off at me, than Mark Bagley. Because, hello. So this is everything about this comic book for the most part. The writing, the art, everything. Beautiful. Beautiful. And of course, Eddie's still got to deal with this nonsense. For crying out loud. He's coming, man. He's coming. Like future story arc. It's not even just a seed. It's like Eddie woke up the next day and there's a freaking oak tree in the middle of his backyard. This isn't a plot seed, man. Like, this is something that's happening. I'm just waiting for the damn thing to fall over on top of my head. And I hate that he can't tell people, but that's so Eddie, isn't it? Cates gets Eddie. He gets Eddie in a really solid way. And introducing these characters, organically in the comic book over time, and now actually dealing with their individual psyches, it's all of it. It's fantastic. I'm liking this. Okay, just more Sleeper, because we didn't get a whole lot of Sleeper recently, and that kind of sucked. It's like, hey, Sleeper's here. Not really. I'm just going to be a cat. That's all that we're going to see of me. That sucked. That sucked. But anyway, digging on this. So guys, multiple comic book covers to choose from. Get your favorite one or your favorite ones and enjoy, because yeah, we are definitely in for a lot of fun in here. The ending, that last thing that Eddie says to who he's talking to, hells yes, I can't wait to see this. Anyway, guys, it almost feels like it's going to be Agent Venom in some ways, right? Anyway, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.